Hey, welcome back to another Abs Summer Target with hockey coach Francis directly for the beautiful country of Thailand. One amazing, great, I think it's Wednesday night, July 23rd, 2025. I don't know why my headphone is so funny, but hopefully an amazing, great week so far. Already the third week in July. Yes, it's not October yet, but we're getting there. One day at a time, one night at a time, one show at a time. That's the reason we are here tonight. And we're going to talk about the Montreal Canadiens. There's a couple of news in NHL. It's a quiet time of this year for the hockey. We understand that. But when you have passion, when you are nuts talking about hockey, that's what you do in July. And that's the reason you are here tonight with me talking about your favorite team, maybe the Montreal Canadiens. And like he said, Ozio Murphy, he said, drop the puck. Here we go. We need to drop the puck. And the best thing to drop the puck is to create a face-off. And we need two players. And I'm not alone tonight because he is back in the house directly from Hawkesbury. Of course, the co-host, Mr. Marco Larrabee, is in the house tonight.
Sure.
Welcome
July,
back.
coach. July. Yeah, thank you. Glad to be back. It's been, I don't know, think I was with you last week. I forget there, like on
I
Friday or
think
something like
so,
that. But
no,
yeah,
I
it's been,
think it was the week before that, but you came
oh, geez.
The Sunday night.
Yeah,
Then
right, right.
no, I no, you're right. It was the Friday, and then it was supposed to have Wednesday. We had miscommunication with
Yeah, yeah,
Jim.
yeah.
Jim did it. Jim does a good
Yeah,
job,
yeah.
by the way. I don't know if
Yeah,
you see
very
that.
good. Yeah, I watched the episode with Jim. Great, great guest. Look forward to hopping on with him in the future. But yeah, coach, like, kind of quiet, but listen, there's a lot of interesting conversations going on, on social media, on YouTube about, the second line and lots of other stuff around the Montreal Canadiens. So, hey, we're gonna talk about all kinds of stuff today. Still lots of stuff to talk about. Like we have some player sightings, in Montreal, which is exciting. I'm sure we'll talk about that. So some interesting things there. But yeah, coach, like, listen, it's an exciting time, right? Like this time to be a Montreal Canadiens fan is like it's never going to be better than this. Let's not lie to each other, right? Because hope, there's so much hope right now. There the all the possibilities are there. It's very similar to when the Leafs, kind of drafted Matthews and Marner, and, like, there was lots of hope. The fan base thought that there was going to be years and years of winning. So let's not take advantage of it, guys, because let's look at the Leafs, right? Like it goes by fast, right? Like, you have 6-7 years and your window passes by quick. So this is a really exciting time. That's why I think, we're excited to talk about it in July, coach, because this season is going to be so much fun. There's so many exciting things to talk about, so many question marks too, though. So it gives us a lot to talk about. So it should be a fun show. And looks like we're getting some people in the chat. So look forward to kind of chatting with people and answering some questions and having a good time.
And that's the reason we're going to talk about this night, a huge decision ahead. We're going to talk about Martin St. Louis because I think this is the first time Marco is right now on the position to have more option in front of him. And this is what we're looking for as a Montreal Canadian. And then I make a video today. It's about Kirby Dak, his last chance maybe with the Montreal Canadiens. I'm going to talk about this, of course, the next couple of minutes. But at the end of the day, a lot of conversation we can talk tonight, but we're going to welcome back PLW, take a couple of days off. I don't know, he was on vacation, and he last a chance talking about the Toronto Blue Jays. At the same time, we have a couple of people are and big fans of the Yankees. GF is one of them. Roger Bouchard is one of them. So glad to see both of you with us tonight. RJ Calabro already with a couple of update news. Thank you, RJ. Billy is in the house. Gary knocked the door right away there. And then we have other people knock the door like I said, Roger Bouchard. Julien Wiseman Vézina is in the house. Welcome back, Julien. Long time, my friend. Mr. Pitt is in the house. Luke, wow, long time. Roy from Bangkok. Hopefully you're doing well, Roy. Glad to see you. And I said a little bit early, Audio Murphy. So some of you, welcome of you. We did not see your name yet. We welcome all of you. Let's start with what we got tonight, every single night. Before that, the moderator, Ron with Kings, is with us. Ron is a great example, Marco, about the fact, like not only a moderator, but he wants to know more about hockey on the daily. Honestly, he sent me email. He talk about the Kings, the Utah, and when you talk about subject, Marco, it's not about I like this player. It's about why this happening, why they do this way, and what the reason they take those kind of decisions. How do you see the system, everything, and the head coach
Yeah,
behind decision or the GM? So this is the way
sure.
run to improve, no more united about hockey. See the games friendly because it's to be a hockey fan. It's easy. You sit in the building or in front of your TV, you follow the puck, you have a goal, and that's it. But when you start talking about the system and how they play and the reason they put this guy with another guy and the decision of the coach, that create more
Yeah,
conversation between
interesting.
people.
For
And
sure.
Ron, you do the right thing. He send me email almost every day. He follow. He's one of the member. I have two members on my Patreon, Ron and Larry, and they read my Patreon every day. And Ron is really active about that. So glad to see you, my friend. Thanks to be with us. Jeff talk about the Mets. Oh, I'm sorry, a New York Mets fan. I apologize for that light. Just dislike the Jays, same as the Leave. Here we go. That's the reason behind that.
It's hard to dislike the Jays right now. Like, it's a lot of bandwagon people joining the Blue Jays right now because they're playing so well. So we'll see how that goes the rest of the season for the Jays.
Yeah, I follow baseball. It's just the how you said the big news or something like that, right? But I'm not. I follow. I don't know
It's
too
hard to
much.
follow the full regular season, right? It's just so many games. Like it's, I'll admit I'm kind of a bandwagoner for sure. So if the Jays are good, then sometime around August, like right about now, if they're in it, then I really start to watch. So right now I'm just starting to watch them and getting like there's some of the players that I didn't know or whatever because I didn't watch the beginning of the season. So definitely getting into it now though because they're playing super well.
They have also a good run right now in July and at the end of the middle of
Yeah,
June. So they go
for
they
sure.
start very slowly. Some players and now they're looking good as a team. So we'll see if something
Yeah.
happens. We're going to follow the Jays the next couple of weeks. Definitely about that. And welcome everybody in the chat, like Jeff also. We want to go to the first. We're going to the headlines. We do always. Marco is with me, and we'll see what we got tonight on the headline. I'm going to start like we do with Marco, followed by me. And the first headline of the night for Marco is
Well, we have Martin St. Louis here back at the drawing board. So this is obviously an AI rendering of Martin St. Louis that we put together here. But how to have a better training camp, right? So Martin St. Louis back at the drawing board. I'm not sure what he's organizing there. It looks pretty disorganized. It looks like they're kind of going in circles, but you get the point, right? So I'm just surprised that ChatGPT was actually got the logo
I
perfect and
like the
everything.
board.
So it's
They
pretty
did a
cool.
good job on the board on
Yeah,
the. I have this in my office a lot. It was great to see that.
yeah,
You sit with the players,
yeah,
you show the players what they look like. So I like the board. The
yeah,
face pretty
yeah.
good, but
It's
it's
all
not
about
exactly. But
yeah, it's all about prompting with AI, right? So if you have the right prompt, then you can kind of create pretty much anything. But anyway, so as we know, last season Montreal's training camp was an absolute mess. We talked about it here, Coach. Uh, you know, and it's funny, right? Like, he did a lot of the right things. Like he didn't. They invited less players. They didn't experiment too much with lines. They had all set line combinations and everything else. But they still made some questionable decisions during camp, in my opinion. They chose to not dress their lineup because they were concerned about some of the physical play against Ottawa. And there's some other questionable decisions too. And then now we know that Martin St. Louis did kind of try to introduce some more complex elements to their hybrid D zone coverage system, and it just didn't go well. If you look at their first 10 games, like the first couple games were a little bit misleading. So they started off the season with a 1-0 win in Toronto, but that was all, if you guys remember, Montembeault was still in his head, like had 40 saves. They shut out Toronto in the first game. They went 2-3 in their first couple games, but you could see that there was something underlying that just wasn't right. And then they ended up going 3-7 in their first 10 games. So this year, we're going to talk about that. The whole thumbnail of the show is St. Louis has tough decisions. The first decision is how can he improve off training camp last year? Say what you want, but Michel Therrien back in the day, he knew how to run a training camp. All the Montreal teams always started off really strong, 10-3. Some of them went like 10-1. Like having a really strong start is just so critical with how tight the Atlantic Division is going to be. So I hope that they do some of the same things they did last year. Like I hope that St. Louis goes in with a plan. It's going to be tricky, right? Because there's a lot of new players. You have Bolduc, you have Demidov, you have new D pairings. So lots of things to figure out. So we'll see if St. Louis takes the training camp as an opportunity to experiment, or does he have a really clear vision and go with and really give certain lines the opportunity to play together. So listen, it's going to be super important to get off to a strong start. Coach, like I know we talked about this a lot last year about the training camp, but if you had the opportunity to have a coffee with Martin St. Louis at Brassard, right? Like you have 15-20 minutes to have a chat with St. Louis and you're like, Marty, what's the advice that you would give him to improve from last year's training camp so that Montreal can get to a better start?
I could be wrong, Marco. I think they got scared when they got a couple of one or two injuries during the exhibition game, and I think they sit the players quicker.
Yep.
I think they should go a little bit more on the progression. So when I said that, like, you start with your rookies, you give them first game, 2 game, the third game, now 4 game you play maybe with your your third top 9 about 3 line, honestly, and then 5 and 6 you finish with those line, and then the last game, not necessarily to have a full roster, depends when is the last game, but you prepare for the upcoming season. So I think the most important things, in my opinion, it's not only the exhibition game, but the practice, Marco. I think the practice have to be more satisfied, more on the intensity on that. Of course, we don't see all the practice, but I think you have a Laney injury, then you're a little bit worried about this, you calm down everything. But at the end of the day, they have to be, like you said, better training camp, better preparation, and be ready for the upcoming season for the 2025-2026. I think also the success they got last year that would push them a little bit more to be united, more together. Yes, they lost a couple of players, but still, some players have been like Demidov past the summer in Montreal, Marco. And then you got Joe Leno is a new member of the team. I don't know if he's going to make it, but he still practices with the team. Many of them right now are in town, practice together, and that's helping.
They're in town I think they're in town because Suzuki is getting married, right? So there's a whole bunch of them in town. Even Tyler Toffoli is in town. So I wouldn't be surprised if people start some rumors around that, because it's weird to see a former Montreal Canadien practicing with the team and everything. But yeah, it's July. So obviously he's there for Nick Suzuki's wedding as well. But it's great to see all those guys practicing. Like it's so exciting, right? Like you have Demidov there with Slavkovsky and Laine and Suzuki and Caulfield. And so yeah, it's great to see the guys out. And we've talked about this before, Coach, like when you have guys, like I know it's because of Nick Suzuki's wedding, but that's something that we should keep an eye on too, right? Like how early are the guys going to be coming? Like we saw that Doc, kind of came late compared to some of the other guys. So I would love to see Doc come in a bit early and start practicing with the guys as well too. We know that he's really kind of training. So A2, I'll bookmark your question about Dvorak for after Coach does his headline.
Yeah, I'm going to send this in the next 20 minutes, if you don't mind about this. So we'll see what's happening for that. The next for me, it's about maybe you did not expect. I think we never share a headline or the effect. Marco sent it to me, but I never returned mine. And in French tonight. Mike Matheson, le mal aimé. From the fans, honestly, it's not negative, but I think we don't give him enough credit. I know people want to trade him. They think they have a value in return. Yes, they have some kind of value. But I think the utility of Mike Matheson for the upcoming season is really, really important. Then, if an injury happening, example, if we trade Mike Matheson, Marco, tomorrow, we get now 7 defensemen, including Rebecca. And then you have to push now Jacky Strobel or Rebecca. But imagine after Matheson leave the building, we have another injury after that. That's remind us a little bit the right defenseman's position last year, where you got, an injury after an injury, and then you got only 2, and everybody was complaining about where's Kovacevic or where is this guy and everything. So I think this is what I believe we don't give enough credit for what Mike Matheson can bring. Leadership, experience, still great skater, accept his role. If something happened to power play, he can pick it up there. If something happened on the PK, he's still there. He can play on the third pairing. If Leinartson, we don't want this. Caden Coley, we don't want this. But one of the two miss time, Marco. But Mike Matheson can pick it up there for many games. Don't worry about that. If it's Jackie's trouble, it's a little bit more question mark. Nothing against them. It's just I feel like Mike Matheson play a good role where we at that moment. And the next 1 year, 2 years, when the development of the young player are going to be satisfied and better, I think it will be maybe the time for Mike Matheson. But I still believe right now Mike Matheson play a specific role, a great role, and I think the Montreal need him at this moment. And the next couple of years, we'll see what's happening. We know he's on final year contract. We know it could be wait at the trade deadline when the Montreal could, where are they? And then that will maybe make the situation with Mike Matheson. But it's not about French. He's born in Montreal. Nothing happened about this. I think I just feel like we don't give enough credit for Mike Matheson. You talk about the giveaway park and everything, decision making. It's part of the game. For all of you guys, I said that the last live stream Monday, Marco, but Noah Thompson is one of them, can turn the puck also. If you watch him last season. So we have to wait. But for me, I think we should give him a little bit more love for Mike Matheson before the season starts, because you need that. I think, guys, that's, I don't know. But if we go team by team, Marco, on the left defenseman position on the defense on the left side, you have Caden Coley, Leinartson, and Mike Matheson. Go around the league and find me 5 better 3 left defensemen play like this. I think Montreal could be in the top 5.
So, all right. So listen, I'll agree with you that I think it is unfair that he is mal aimé, right? Like I think he does catch a lot of strays that he shouldn't, for sure. Like his contributions over the last 2 years in particular, since he's been in Montreal, I think exceeded everybody's expectations, right? So I think all the flowers in the world to Mike Matheson, the cap hit that he's in, like the minutes that he's played in his first couple seasons here with or 3 seasons, I guess, with Montreal, really great. Like, so I don't take anything anything away from what you just said. Now, where I disagree with you is, if you have an injury like Gouli or Hudson, like I would have been concerned before getting Dobson, because, then you wouldn't really have a good option for your first unit power play, right? But now you have Dobson. So you would really need to have 2, you'd have to have Hudson and Dobson go down before you get in trouble and not really have an elite offensive defenseman to quarterback your first unit power play. So I think you're okay there. And then on top of that, you didn't mention Engstrom in your equation. I know you're a big Engstrom fan. He's going to be knocking on the door here soon too, right? So
the only reason I mention him is because I still believe he had 1 more year in Laval.
Maybe, but like all I'm saying is that if there was an injury, he could come up and play 10, 15 games. You know what I mean? So I would include him in the depth of the, like, I think he could absolutely come play some games in the NHL next year. And I think the management team also feels that way, right? So from what we've heard, I think they think really highly of Engstrom, and other teams are also starting to notice him as well. So I think the reason, like, listen, there's a part of the fan base that doesn't like Matheson. They feel like he turns over the puck too much and all that. I'm not going to argue with them because you have a right to your opinion, but I think it's well documented that with the amount of minutes that he plays, with all these positions that he's in, it's going to happen, right? Like players that possess the puck and try things with the puck, they're going to turn it over more often than other players do. But coach, these are the points I think that, in my view, go in favor of making a move with Matheson if there's a good move to make. Like, they don't have to, but if there is a good move to make, here's why I would be in favor of it for a couple of reasons. One, we know that and part of it is for Montreal and part of it is for himself. Let's start with his own interest, right? Mike Matheson is going into a contract year, right? We can pretty much assume, unless St. Louis decides to go with two defensemen on his second unit, which I don't think is going to happen, Matheson is probably not going to see a lot of power play time. And going into a contract year, selfishly, like we know Mike Matheson loves playing for the Montreal Canadiens, but obviously him and his agent are going to be thinking about next steps for him and whether this puts him in a good position. So selfishly, and he's not going to complain, like he's not going to be a cancer in the locker room or anything like that. But just for his own personal interests, this is not going to be a good position for him. Like if he's playing third pairing minutes, or if he's playing second pairing minutes, killing penalties and all that, he's just not going to have the type of production or opportunities to produce like he has in the past. So just strictly from his perspective, it would be beneficial, in my opinion, for him to move. The other thing I think that you have to take into consideration, coach, is that Mike Matheson, yes, he's going to accept his role. Like if he's only going to be playing 5-on-5 and they're telling him, like, to me, if they can convince Mike Matheson to be the next, who's the guy from Florida there? His name was just on tip of my Forsling. If they could convince Mike Matheson, we want you to be the next Gustav Forsling. You're not going to put up a lot of minutes. You're going to use your stick to defend. You're not overly physical. You're a great skater. Like, he could be a Forsling from Florida. Like, I think he has that kind of potential, right? But the thing is that he wants to be offensive with the puck. That's just his nature. And I remember hearing an interview that he did with Eric Engels, and he wants to be offensive. He maybe doesn't want to play that role. So from a Montreal perspective, you're asking a player. Now, again, he's a pro, so he's going to try to do it, right? He's going to try to play his role the best that he can. But it's in his brain, coach. It's wired that he wants to be offensive. He wants to do those things. So can he turn into a Gustav Forsling where he's more kind of a two-way defenseman that's going to use his stick to defend smartly, use his feet to defend and kill penalties and all that? I think he has the potential to do that. But in his nature, he wants to be an offensive defenseman. So I think, with all that being said, Montreal, if they have the opportunity to improve their team somewhere else, they have so much depth on the left side, coach, that I think they could overcome an injury. Again, it's not going to be perfect. Like you're not going to replace Gooley or Hudson. Like it's hard to replace those kind of guys. But I think, listen, two things can be true at once. I agree with you that it's unfair that people blame him or critique him as much as they do. But even though I think that, I still think that if there's a move to be made that's going to help them improve the roster in areas where they have less depth, then I think I would not say no to that.
I just feel we don't have enough to carry on the top four. Couple of games, yes. Example, Cooley got hurt at game number 10 for the rest of the year, right?
Yep.
And now you have no Mike Matheson and Rebecca still at Laval. So you call up someone, you have to deal at the top pairing or second pairing, Jekai, Strobel, or Engstrom. Yeah, a couple of games we can hang in there. But 30 game, is not. That's why the reason Mike Matheson is a good fix, because if happening to Thompson or Carrier, he can play. We can move someone, he can sit there. For me,
we saw Struble come up and play some really big games with Hudson for at least 20, 25 games. And arguably, Hudson had his best stretch of hockey playing with Struble last year, right? So you have the depth, right? So again, it's, every team is going to be impacted by injury. Like if you have one of your top four defensemen goes down, then of course you're going to have a bit of a slide off. But that's the thing, coach, is that they have, they're going to be impacted by an injury like that. But let's talk about this. What if Nick Suzuki gets injured? So if you can use Mike Matheson to get another center as a package, to get another center that's going to be able to play in your top nine, that's better than Joe Valeno, then I think they're way more vulnerable to an injury at center. What if Jake Evans gets injured? Then one of your top two face-off guys is gone. So to me, I think Montreal would survive an injury to Gouli more than an injury to either Evans or Suzuki as their primary, like, veteran centers, right? So again, it's like that's what roster construction is you have to take from the parts that you're strong and try to reinforce parts that you're a bit weaker. So it will be interesting to see, like, again, we heard about that conversation they had with Mike Matheson at the combine in Buffalo, where he met with Hughes and Gordon in person. They had apparently a long discussion. So nobody knows exactly what that discussion was. Was it about extending? Was it about talking about how they see his role in the team this year and whether that's cool with him? Like, we'll see. But the good news, coach, is that Montreal isn't in a rush. They don't have to do anything. I think everybody's happy. You're right. Like, if they go into the season next year with Matheson, Hudson, and Gouli on their left side, like, that's amazing. Like, I don't think everybody understands that's a position of strength. But if you can move him to make something else stronger, that's pretty good too.
Right about that, let's move on for the NHL news. Not many things going on in NHL, but we have a couple of things that shall talk about this. But let's starting with the first of the night. It's happening yesterday, I believe, but the Seattle Kraken gave a contract of Mr. Kako for 3 times at $4.5 million. So I would like to know from you, you agree with amount, with the hit of this salary cap, and then, of course, his performance overall with the Kraken since he left the New York Rangers?
Yeah, I'm like, I think it's a great move for Seattle. Like, I think, I think he really needed a change of scenery from the Rangers, and I forget the exact numbers, but I think he probably had something like 30 points in 40 games or something like that, like finishing the season with Seattle. But it was pretty good. Like, it was a pretty different pace of production that he had when he was with Seattle. I have no problem with this number either. Like, this is a player that's just entering his prime. He's what, like 25, 24? If it seems like he's been playing in the NHL way, way longer. I think he's only 24. And he has I think he's a good hockey player. Like, he's not going to put up the points that maybe you would expect from a second overall pick, obviously. I think it really comes down to his skating. It just didn't really kind of allow him to get into spots that you would need to really kind of create as more offense than we would expect. But he's a really strong two-way player, coach. I think he plays on both sides of the puck. Had a really, really productive end of the season with Seattle. With the salary cap going up, I think this is a really safe deal for Seattle. One of the rare moves that I can say that I like from Seattle this summer. I can't say that even with the new GM, with Botterill going in there, I thought it was going to be a bit of a change in direction, but I can't say that I've been very impressed with their summer overall either. It seems like a team that's just stuck in the mud, to be honest. A couple of great prospects there, but man, if you're a new fan base like that in Seattle, like with a beautiful arena and like, they just need to do something to shake things up here a little bit. Like, I think they'd be a great landing spot for a player like Jason Robertson. That would be a great, elite kind of exciting player for them to go get. They just need to do something to spruce things up. But for this deal, coach, I think it's a really reasonable deal. I think it's a good fit for both parties, I think.
Awesome. Let's move on to the next one. It's 7 arbitration for the players, RFA. They announced the date for each one of them. We're not going to talk about all of them, but I just want to mention more about the Montreal Canadiens, Jadon Strouble, August 3rd. What do you expect? What do you see? People in the fans and the chat can tell us what your expectation of the deal between Jadon Strouble and, of course, the Montreal Canadiens. So, Marco, let me know. What do you think?
Yeah, like, correct me if I'm wrong, coach, but if they actually go to arbitration, they can only do a 1-year deal, right? So It's not going to be a so it's not impossible. So there's August 3rd. You're seeing some players that are agreeing with the team before they go to arbitration. Sometimes arbitration is having a date is a good thing for negotiations because it puts a little bit of pressure on both parties to go and make a deal, right? So if they do go to arbitration, then it's just going to be a 1 year deal, right? From what I understand. But I would expect, based on kind of some comps that I've seen, it's not impossible that he comes in like just under maybe 2 million, like for 1 year, like maybe 1.8. I would be surprised if it was over 2 million for an arbitration reward. But I think, like I was mentioning earlier, there is that period of time where, like, if an arbitrator is just looking at his time on ice and things like that, the stretch that he played with Hudson last year is probably going to help his case, right? So we'll see kind of how it plays out. But don't be surprised, guys. Like I said, arbitration sometimes it pushes both parties to kind of get together and come up with something. We'll see how it plays out. I think Montreal likes Struble, right? But they do have they do have some pressure there, right? There's a lot of depth there. I'm just concerned and coach, maybe this is something that we should do maybe next week. We should, like, I think I sent you an article about this, but the impact of the if there's another entry draft, or sorry, if there's another expansion draft, how Montreal would be so negatively impacted by an expansion draft because there's only so many players that you're going to be able to protect, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, we should do a show about that. But I worry about stuff like that, right? Like, Struble, Jackeye, Engstrom, like, these are players that I think most people agree are going to play in the NHL. And, at some point or another, like, you might just lose one on waivers for nothing, right? So, I don't know, coach, how you feel, but I'm pretty confident that Struble, if an arbitrator kind of were to rule on it, I think he comes in under 2. I'd be surprised if it's too much over that.
You're right about this. I think for me, I announced it. I think 1.2, 1.3 for Strobel. 1 to 2 years.
1.3.
Yeah.
Well, if he goes to arbitration, it's only they can only do 1 year, right? They only set the
Yeah.
salary for 1 year.
If they hit there, if they hit the
Yeah.
judge, yeah, I agree with you about that. But still, I don't expect more at this. My opinion. If you look about the contract of others, I think I look about the contract with Drew Allison for the Anaheim Ducks, and it's not regular. I don't see more at 1.2, 1.3 for Strobel, or my opinion, but we'll see.
How much did Jackeye get? How much did Jackeye get? 1.5?
1.3.
1.3?
Yeah.
With the salary cap going up, coach, like, you might have to adjust for that a bit more, right? So it could be like more like 1.7, something like that.
But for 1 year, I don't, you know what I mean? Like, you cannot jump for $1 million to 1.5 the way he played. Montreal is stuck with the salary cap.
Yeah, like, obviously they're getting to that stage, right? With Patrick Laine's salary sitting there, with Anderson and Gallagher, and and obviously with the Carey Price contract not an LITR yet, then Montreal they're still at minus 5 million right on the cap right now. So there is a little bit of pressure there. You're right.
You're absolutely right about that. We welcome back, of course, Gary Cournoyer and Bush knocked the door. Both of you welcome and say about that. Slicky, the way you talk right now is like, be careful, because, well, not be careful, but just check. Carrier is playing on the right side, so he cannot play on the left side. So you have to be sure you talk about the left side and then the right side. But I can understand your point of view, but I disagree for the way you mentioned that, on my opinion. And A2 said, hope Rebecca stay healthy for the year and start to develop his game. It cannot stay the same 19 years old player forever. Rooting for that kid. We need him a long term. You're right. Finally, the last one, it's about Nathan Beaulieu. Retired 11 years in the NHL. 17 overall pick for the Montreal Canadiens 2011. I think this was the last. It was not. It was the year before Marc Bergevin became GM, if I can recall it. I could be wrong. Mm-hmm. Of course, Trevor Timmons was there, but
yeah.
471 game in NHL. Played the last 2 years in the Swiss League and KHL. Saw him last year, but you know, I think for me a little bit Galchenyuk career, in my opinion, like he was better on the Atwater Street at on the blue line.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you can compare it. Coach, did you ever see that video of Galchenyuk getting arrested in Phoenix and all the
Yeah,
how he
but
was
my
threatening?
point was really active on the
Yeah,
other side, a little bit
Galchenyuk
like
is a whole
Christian
other.
Yule, by the way.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe okay. Yeah, Galchenyuk is a whole other level, right, of craziness. But yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, like good memories of my favorite memory of Nathan Beaulieu is the probably when he kind of surprised everyone with how good of a fighter he was. He was like a really underrated fighter because he's a smooth skating, kind of two-way defenseman. But then he got into a fight and just popped a guy, and everybody learned really quick that he knows how to fight. So listen, like nice little career for sure. A little bit underwhelming. I think, coach, it shows you kind of how spoiled Montreal fans are now. Like if you look at the prospect pool that Montreal has, I think there's some people sharing that on Twitter a couple of days ago, showing the prospect pool in like 2012 compared to the prospect pool that Montreal has now. It's just crazy, right? So good little career for Nathan Beaulieu. I used to love the way that one of the play-by-play guys, I forget his name, but he used to always he can't really pronounce French names very well, so he used to call him Nathan Beaulieu. So I just remember how he used to pronounce his name. But good little player, good little player.
Yep, Nathan Beaulieu. I think someone said Beaulieu the Great or something like that, the Great One or something like that. In the chat early, they call him the Nathan the Great or something. Good career, very good career in the junior with the London Knight. If you recall it, the
Yeah.
GF leave in London. Talk about him in the chat early. So great point about that. We're going to talk about the Montreal Canadiens. Not many news for the Montreal Canadiens, but I have a couple of things, subject we can talk, Marco, before we move on the subject of the night. And we have first Nick Suzuki, sixth best scorer among the NHL center last year. Suzuki is getting now at his prime of his career. 13 overall pick, trade to the Montreal Canadiens, did not miss any game. We hope the same for the upcoming season. Become the big role for the Montreal, captain the team. He get married, everything looking good for him, and he just knocked the door for his prime time in NHL. This is going to be another big season for him, but we are really lucky to have him, honestly. A couple of years ago, I remember in the chat here, year after year, there was questionable. He's not a center number one. We need a center number one. He's best center number two, anything like that. But I think we are wrong about him. Big fan of the favorite player for Roger Delaney, by the way. But give us a bit an overview of what Nick Suzuki is.
Well, yeah, like I think, yeah, definitely a breakthrough season for Nick Suzuki last year in terms of how I think the rest of the NHL views him. Not only was he the sixth best scorer for centers, but didn't he finish like 13th overall in scoring overall, coach, in the league? Like that's pretty good. Like one point shy from hitting the 90 points threshold, right? So really, really impressive for him. So I think we used to have this huge debate. I remember us having this debate with Enertap for many, many different episodes about what kind of center could be considered a number one center, right? And we would have been happy with Suzuki being a 75-point player. Like if you look at Patrice Bergeron back in his prime, yeah, I don't think he scored more than 80 points more than once, right? But he was considered a number one center. So again, like to me, the way that I view kind of like a winning hockey team, I don't care about 100-point players that much. Like you can have 200 or 300-point players, but then have them finish in the minus and just not be a very good hockey team. So for me, I would much prefer Nick Suzuki be like an 80-point player, but be like a plus player and play both sides of the ice and everything else, right? So I think I think he needed to break through and put some points on the board to prove to everyone that he has the capability of doing that. It's nice to just shut everybody up and show them that he can do that. But I just hope that he realizes that he doesn't need to be a 100-point player to for the team to be successful. Like that first line needs to be productive. But I think he's very much developing into the young captain that they envisioned at this stage. He looks like he's growing into that role really well. So this could be a big year for him, Coach. Remember we talked about how Montreal needs to have a really strong start, a better training camp. I think we're going to see a Nick Suzuki that's highly motivated at the beginning of the season because he wants to play on the Canadian Olympic team. And we know that he's going to be competing really, really head to head with Robert Thomas is probably the biggest competition, I would say. Like they're pretty much the same player, to be honest. Like it's really hard to choose between the two. They're both right-handed defensemen that have the same kind of production. They kind of play the same way. So he's going to want to come out really strong. I think that he didn't go to the World Championships again. And that's I think Hockey Canada doesn't always love that when players do that. So I think if I remember in his exit interview when he was asked about that, he's like, "Well, I'm just going to have to go out and continue what I did this season and show them that I belong." So I expect a really, really motivated Suzuki to start the year.
Well said about that. We're going to hit this one from Tony Marino. Lenny 40 goal, probably. Agree or disagree? That would be a good question for the clash, but
Yeah, yeah.
that's what he said, I believe, yesterday. Uh, what do you think about that statement?
Well, listen, like if you look at Line A's production and you kind of average it out over if he would have played a full season last year, you're looking at somebody that probably could have scored close to 40 goals if he was had the same rate of scoring, right? I just don't think, coach, that he's going to have the kind of opportunity to do that, right? Like, um, similarly to what I just said about Nick Suzuki, I would much rather have Patrick Laine score 28 goals, but play a little bit better on both sides of the puck and make sure that when his line is on the ice, that they're doing the small things to like Martin Saint Louis always says, like play the game, play his game inside the game kind of thing, put the team ahead of his own production. So I just don't see Line having enough ice time, to be honest, to score 40 goals. Like for me personally, I'm seeing him more playing on a third line this year. A lot of people are debating whether he should even be on the first unit power play. For me, I would absolutely have him on the first unit power play still, because that's what he does. Like you want to put players like if I'm Martin Saint Louis, this is the bargain that I would have with Line A. Listen, Patrick, Patty Ice, however he wants to be called. Here's the deal for this season. I'm going to keep you on power PP1, assuming if things go well. I'm going to give you the opportunity to start there. Let's see how things go. But in exchange to that, I'm going to dial back your minutes a little bit 5-on-5. I'm going to be playing you in my world. I had him with Jake Evans and with Newhook would be the line that I would have him on. And let's what the deal is. You're going to keep your PP1, but I really need you to play well 5-on-5. I need you to kind of be on the right side of the puck, do all the small things, and the production will come 5-on-5. But because I think Saint Louis wants to balance his scoring across all the lines, right? So I don't think so, Coach. Like if I had to bet against it, does he has the capability to score 40 goals if he was playing in the top six? Probably. But I think the way that Saint Louis is going to deploy him, I just don't think he's going to have that chance.
You're right. Rudolph said you need to be in the top six for the best chance to succeed and to get 40 goals. You're right. I think for me, 40 goal equal TOI.
Yeah.
Right?
I have a question here from Peter. This is a fun one, Coach. Like, what's our PP1? Do we have that somewhere in the show, or can we answer that
We
now?
don't have. We have the line, but we don't have the. I did not go to the power
Okay.
play because I think it could be good for another time. So
Okay. All right. Well, so listen, okay, well, you'll have to tune in later, Peter, because we're gonna save that for another show. But I definitely have a PP1 unit that I want to see, but you'll have to tune in another episode for that one.
but you can mention that. Yeah, we can talk a little
Okay,
bit
okay.
later.
All right.
So you can
All right.
mention. I just said tonight we don't want to talk power play, but the
Okay, okay.
line. So what's that point?
Okay. So here's what I would do on the first power play unit. So obviously I have Suzuki at center. I would still have Line on the left circle for sure. Basically the guy that I'm moving off the first unit power play is Slavkovsky. So I think at this stage, Demidov, I think would jump into that spot. So I'd have Suzuki, I'd have Line on the left circle. I would have Demidov on the right circle. Then you have Hudson. I put him on the right point, and then on the left point, you'd have kind of Caulfield in the bumper. I think they're going to play that umbrella style maybe. So you have Hudson up top, and then you have Caulfield in the bumper. So Suzuki, Line on the left, Demidov on the right, Hudson up top, and then Suzuki in the bumper would be my first unit power play.
And
Unless Line. So the one thing to watch for Line is turnovers at the offensive blue line. If I'm Martin St. Louis, I'm saying I'm going to give you some PP1. The last thing, I don't want you carrying the puck in, though. let Hudson, let somebody else carry the puck in. And I'm going to be really, really strict with you, Patrick, for turnovers at the offensive blue line. He was brutal for that last year. And I think that's where he lost the trust. A lot of the coaches is trying little deke plays and everything at the offensive blue line and then seeing turnovers come the other way. So I would start with that. And then if he's not able to do that, and if it's not working for whatever reason, that I slide Slavkovsky back in, move Caulfield to the left circle, and then you put and then you can put Slav out front or whatever. But that's what I would start with.
unit number 2.
Unit number 2, I would have depending on the side of the face-off, it's either gonna I probably do Doc at center. We'll see how that goes. Then you have Slav on the right circle. Then I would have Bolzik on the. Actually, you know what? I would want Bolzik on the right. So I'd have Doc, Bolzik.
Oh, you don't want him bumper. That's where he scores his goal.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. He did a lot. Yeah, you're right. So Slav like on the right wall, but also going down towards the net, right? And then you got Doc. Then you've got Bolzik as at the bumper. Then you've got Dobson, and I think that's it, right? So you got.
No, yeah, 4.
So,
you missed one.
Okay. So Doc, Bolzik. I guess I would be Newhook. I guess it would be Newhook in there as well.
Okay, so yeah, this is what is become interesting because you can. For me, you maybe use more. We don't have any slap shot one timer on the liney spot anymore. So I would put
no. We have Dobson. You have Dobson there, yeah.
Okay, so who you put on the defenseman quarterback?
Well, so Dobson is on the top, right? So if you have somebody that's on the wall, then you could you're just passing to Dobson. Dobson is the option
it's
for.
Really hard. It's really hard to the one timer at the blue line. So I would prefer him at the circle, Matheson at the top, Sakaski, Bolzik, and Kirby Doc. I put Alex Newhook on my PK.
Yeah, I think for sure Alex PK should be on the PK. Alex Newhook, I for sure agree that he should be on the PK. I wouldn't be against having again, it would be a nice little kind of cookie for Matheson to give him some PP time. We'll have to see. For sure, I like the good news is that these are great problems to have, right? Because we haven't even mentioned Gallagher on that unit, at all. That's somebody that could easily slide in, on the second unit power play as well.
Think about
I don't think we're going to
like Joel Amir and Eminem. Now we have Yoral Sakaski, and we have whatever you want to put at that side. So it's better and better. This is what we're looking for. It's going to get more and more. We have a question for Peter. Since both power play 2 are new close to elite. Why not keep switching the line up to keep the PK guessing?
Good question. Like, I think one thing that Sandy really believes in, and I agree with him, is that you don't want to be switching these units up too much because how these power play units get really good is reps. Like just it, like San Luis said it very publicly before, is that sometimes it takes power play units like 2 full seasons playing together to really understand and really get into a rhythm and really kind of instinctively know where they are. Right. So I don't think it's something you want to toy around too much. You want them to, it's like a laboratory, right? You want to put the elements together, let them congeal, let them kind of like play together and get to know each other. So I don't think it's something you want to be playing around with. If that's what you meant, Peter, if you meant um, keep them guessing as to which unit you're going to start first, I think that goes on merit. Like I don't think there's as much of a huge gap between PP1 and PP2 than last year, obviously, right? So if you see in the first 30 seconds that the first unit with Suzuki is, kind of not really into it, or they're not really giving it as much as he would want, then guess what? Maybe the next power play, the second unit starts, right? Stuff like that. So you want internal competition. So if that's what you mean by having, switching them, surprising the team in terms of which unit you're going to, because one thing we have to remember too, right? The two units might not have the same schematic. They might not have the same strategy. Like if you, whichever unit Patrick Laine is on, they're not going to be using the diamond formation like they did in the playoffs. They're going to maybe have something more slanted to have towards his one timer. So there's again, it's just options, right? But in terms of like switching players from one unit to another and switching things around, I don't think that's good for the long term of the power play.
I would add to it. We don't talk about Nick Suzuki last year played both 2 minutes on
On both.
the left side
Yeah.
right there. So that's something we have to
Yeah.
pay attention to that. But now we maybe use him less because he maybe play on the PK. But what we see this, Marco, what I like is you're always thinking, right, as a coach, what's next? Right? It's always what's next. So the
Yeah.
next one now you can get Jake Evan, Brendan Gallagher, Josh Anderson. No one of them play power play. They are the fresh leg. Usually, when you remove the PK, opponent team uses first line usually. So that's a good response for the Montreal Canadiens on that side also. So I think overall, it's pretty good. Thanks, everybody. Be a part of the show. Don't forget, please, to click on the likes. And we welcome Shelton Hughes from Winnipeg is in the house. We have other subject on that subject of the Montreal. But we're going to come back because it's almost 9:30. I want to talk about the big subject of the night. We talked this in the last couple of days, but I think we're going to go more deeper. I make those kind of graphic for you, Marco, and that
Nice.
give you the 4 line here for the Montreal Canadiens. We're going to put some name on the board. They are not there, and then we can changing after that for the people in that chat, Marco, if you don't mind. So I think that would be good to say that. For your answer, Marco, we should have a better team overall next season. From Butch, we have Peter said, I think I would still like to see a return to a 2 defenseman power play. On the power play number 1 from Peter. PLW to Shelton, who generate offense like Patrick on power play in Montreal. And then the Habs would have 2 good power play units this season, regardless who they play. More possible, unit number 2 never play because of unit number 1 scored the first minute, Gary. But we'll see.
That'd be a good problem.
Joseph is in the house. Joseph is boring in Houston. Just come to Thailand, Joseph. You're not going to be boring here with all the cheese here. The off-season is so boring, Joseph. Right now, Joseph is too hot in Texas right now. You need to get out of Houston to go north. That will help me a little bit more. Your mindset. Glad to see you, Joseph. Hopefully, your family, you doing well. Big fan of the New Jersey Devils. Joseph, the Devils will be an interesting team to follow. PLW Demida would add to win his power play spot. There'll be a big fight between him and Sakaski. Billy said, question, my perception was that Patrick Laine was less effective towards the end of the season on the power play because he was too predictable. Agree or disagree with that question?
Well, he also, let's not forget, like Patrick Laine was injured too, right? Towards the end of the season, like he hurt his finger, I guess. Like you could see it in the dressing room. He had like a big cast around his finger. But for sure, guys, like it's not just about Patrick Laine being predictable, right? Is the whole schematic, right? But that's more kind of a decision on the strategy of the power play more than just him. Like you can't deny the weapon that he has in terms of a shot. I think the big thing, like I mentioned earlier, that the coaching staff would not be happy with is turnovers at the offensive blue line, guys. Like, coach, like the cardinal sins of hockey. My wife hears me say this all the time. Like, my wife will watch hockey with me, and I'll go, honey, what did you just see there? She's like, they turned over the puck at the blue line. That's bad. I'm like, yes, that's exactly it. And that's so dangerous, coach. Like you can't turn over the puck either at the offensive blue line or the defensive blue line. It's the worst place you can turn it over. And Patrick Laine, that's the cardinal sin that he does so much. So I think if he can not do that, then I think the coaching staff will trust him a lot more.
Absolutely about this. A lot of great comment between all of you guys. Thanks again, everybody. We appreciate all of you. Okay. It's easy, Marco. We're not going to be a long time on that one. You can agree with me on that one. So that's easy one. So it's not like change everything here.
Yeah.
But again,
No,
there's
no.
going to be now start right there. So I'm not going to put any name. Just go what you're thinking it would be. And this guy is the beginning of season. That's game number one.
Yeah.
It's not like all
Game
year
number one.
long, everything like that. But
Yeah,
we're going to have some kind of conversation, me and Marco for sure, and the people in the chat there.
Yeah, and guys, like feel free to chime in the chat. Like this whole exercise is to get you guys involved, right? So we'll go through, like, coach, why don't we do this? I'll do my lineup. We can have people kind of like remember that, and then we can do yours, and then we
Yep.
can see which ones people like most. So
Okay.
so for the second line, I'm gonna go with on the left. So I'm gonna surprise you guys. Okay, so I'm gonna put Budzik on the left. I'm gonna put Doc in the middle, and I'm gonna put Demidov on the right side.
Yeah. I have the middle of
What?
there, and I have that's what Bodzik was on the right side because I was expecting him to be on the right side, but it's not
Yeah,
like
yeah,
it makes
yeah.
sense.
I
Like
think, yeah. I
when
think
I did it, I
I like,
knew about this, but
yeah, I like Budzik on the right side too because it's better for a one timer, right? And so what I like about Budzik and Doc together is that I think Budzik is working on his face-offs for the summer. So you want somebody that can take face-offs on the left side of the ice. So hopefully Budzik can work on that. But more than anything, what I like about this coach is the potential, the potential chemistry, the styles complement each other really well, right? You have Doc, who is, and this is like you've said in your video, and it was a great video. I encourage everybody to go watch the
I
Doc
was
video
going to
that
say
that
that
you did.
about this situation right
Yeah,
there. Yeah, yeah.
exactly. Like, so Doc is the biggest kind of like, question mark in this whole thing, the biggest kind of wild card, right? If Doc can play good two-way hockey, be on the right side of the puck, many people forget how good he can be at retrieving pucks, at winning puck battles and things like that, right? So he can really play well down low, retrieve pucks and everything else. So if his skating is going and he's playing both sides of the puck, and if he can win at least 48% of his faceoffs, like somewhere closer to that. Bud Zook, his style, obviously we know he's a shooter. Like he can, like he has an elite release, really fast, but he's also a good forechecker, and he's actually pretty decent on both sides of the puck as well. And then you have Demidov, who I think would drive that line, right? Like playmaking. I wouldn't be surprised if like Demidov, if you after the faceoff coach, like if you or watching a video of them playing together, if you eliminate the face-off and saw that somebody else was taking the face-off, I think you would assume that Demidov was the center because he's gonna be the one moving the puck around, getting the middle of the ice, slowing things down. So other than the face-off, I think Demidov is gonna play like the playmaking center of this line. So overall, I like the potential makeup and chemistry of this line a lot. I think it has all the potential. And if you have like right shots and left shots, so I think it's a really, really good combination. So far we have our top six. Now again, so people are going to look at this and be like, where the hell is line A? Like, okay, well, here's where line A is going to show up. So for this line, I'm going to have New Hook on the left. I'm going to have Evans on the in the middle, obviously, and I'm going to have line A on the third line on the right. Now, I'm going to say this. There might be parts of the game. So he starts this, right? But let's say they're ahead with like by one goal or something. Maybe you see Anderson jump on this line in certain situations, right? But just straight up 5-on-5, how it looks on paper, I like the look of this line. You know, you have all the elements here too, right? So you have Evans that can win faceoffs. You have Newhook that can kind of win battles. He can pressure pucks, and then you just hope for them to turn over pucks and feed it to line A 5-on-5. I think, coach, like if line A is playing like 14 minutes a night, I think that's good. 12 to 14 minutes on, and like I said, in certain situations, you have Anderson or Gallagher that jump on this line if you're more in a shutdown mode. Is kind of how I would do it. So curious to see what people there. People think it's a terrible third line. That's everybody has their own line, so it's all good. So fourth line here. So now we're getting into some interesting territory. So I think I'm going to try to reproduce kind of. I think earlier somebody was asking me. I think it was A2 who's going to replace Dvorak. Well, I don't think he's going to replace Dvorak's faceoffs, but it's going to be Veleno. That's going to be on the fourth line, I think. Hopefully he can get his faceoffs a little bit higher, closer to 50%. And then they're going to try to reproduce that Gallagher and Anderson, combination that had so much success with Dvorak last year. So now I see so you have really kind of like a potentially a shutdown line here of Veleno. And again, like Veleno needs to prove it in camp. It's not impossible that we've heard a lot of Grant McCagg was talking about Kapanen making the team. There's people can't forget that Beck is also going to fight for a spot here in training camp. But I'm gonna kind of bet the farm here that Veleno is going to come in. They really, really want that left-hand center to come in. So to me, guys, like what I like about this lineup is that, and the thing is that the difference in actual ice time between the third and the fourth line, I think it's going to be pretty much the same. Like you could see, like I said, line A's ice time go down a little bit depending on where we are in the game, and then you have like somebody from the Veleno line that comes up, maybe double shift or something like that, right? So that's how I would see it. I like the balance of this lineup, right? Like I think that you have offense on each line, you have all the different elements on the line. People that can win puck battles, retrieve pucks. You have playmakers, you have shooters, you have good energy players. So this is my lineup, guys. And my seventh, my 13th forward would be Samuel Blais. I wouldn't be surprised if Sammy Blais is going to get some minutes here for sure. If there's injuries, I could easily see him jump in. Probably I would call him kind of like an upgrade on Pizzetta. Like you're not going to feel bad having him come in and play 30 games. He's going to be a good physical presence that can, have a little bit more refinement to his play than what we saw with Pez. So what do you think, Coach? How far off are we from your lineup?
It's just first of all, before go there, do you expect Kapanen or Beck or not?
So it's going to be a battle. It's going to be a battle. To me, Veleno goes into the training camp and it's his position to lose because they desperately want that left-handed shot. So, but again, like Coach, this is exactly what we've been talking about. Like you talked about Kovacevic earlier and how Montreal made the mistake to just assume that Barron or Reinbacher or Mayu were going to be able to play. And then when they didn't, they had to, they traded Kovacevic and then they had to go and get Carrier. So by getting Veleno, you're going to force Kapanen or Beck to steal that spot, in my opinion. And I have no problem with that. Like I want, if Beck or Kapanen come in and have a stronger training camp and they have to, and Veleno doesn't make it, it is what it is. That's good news for Montreal. That doesn't solve their left center problem though. So So listen, it's going to be a battle. I think they're going to really have to really outperform Villano in the training camp because they just need that option for a left-handed center coach. Like they just don't have it.
Yeah. Um, I'm not sure it's Semi Blais. I think for the purpose of the waiver, everything like that, I think Kapanen and Beck start on the wrong side. Like they need a left, like the requirement of what they need right now, Montreal, Vanenu fit more at Kapanen and Beck. Then Semi Blais play did not play NHL last year. So maybe they want to remove maybe Bled down and then maybe give an opportunity for Kapanen. That could be that's fun. But at the end of the day, it's not a big deal because both of them are not going to be on my top 12 players tonight. So I would play what you have right now on the board. I'm going to change this. And people in the chat, don't panicking right there. If you see a player on the bottom or the top, I'm going to give you a bit more my information about that. So I'm going to move this here. I'm going to put this right here. And this is game number 1, guys. Pay attention to this. It's not like the full time. I'm going to move here, right here. And I'm going to move here, right here. And I will give him right here. Now, this is coming for white coach. All right. And honestly, guys, the third line, fourth line, you can name it. It's no big deal. I still believe me when you see that. We still have one good line, a 3 line, Marco. That's that's what I see that right now. I don't see, yes, Doc, Line, and Demidov more, but still. When I see that,
that's
guys,
scary.
when I see that, the reason behind that is because I love Gallagher and Anderson. The Dvorak side, the play he did, it remind me a lot of Jake Evans. Like they play like this, they are not offensive a lot, both of them. They are really careful about their defensive side. That keep Gallagher Anderson. I think it's a good duo, Gallagher and Gallagher Anderson. I don't change that. Yes, Bolzuk, Demidov, Doc, Marco, it resonate more in my head. But because I'm taking as a coach right now, so I'm maybe different here. You always gave the rewards for the players been with you the year before that, and they play with you like year. At least they have a really bad camp, and the other player have a really solid camp. In my opinion, that's the reason I put Patrick Liney there. I give him the key of the car, drive that car, and after that, we're going to see if you're going to have no accident nowhere for the next couple of games. Said that, but Zik start right there with Joe Valeno. I think Valeno is better. I think for me, Valeno is underrated on defensive zone coverage, in my opinion. That way helping that. And then, of course, you have right there, that's only thing, Marco, is a little bit bothering me and the people in the chat also. And you know, Marco, as a coach, you always pay attention. If you look about Bodzik, Valeno, and New York, and Anderson, Evan, Gallagher, what they have in common?
Yeah, it's, you have all your right-handed and left-handed guys all on the same
Exactly.
line. Coach.
Exactly.
I hate that. I hate that.
So
I hate it.
that's only thing, guys. I have to be careful here. I don't have the right solution right there, but just pay attention when we do this line over there. And if you put Patrick Liney down, it's not going to change. He's not a center, but it could be better at some point at Bodzik Valeno there. If I do this one, because that's a problem, but that's what you have to do here, Marco. And at the end of the day, it's not changed anything. That came back, like I said, I really like that line, to be honest with you. Bolzuk, Dak, Demidov, I really like that one. But I would change Evans for Villano if I look at your system, how you play right there, because I like Gallagher Anderson. I know they are all 3 right there, but at the end of the day, it's not the end of the world. I would not like Liney with Gallagher. I don't like Liney with Anderson. This is really, I believe, more of what my thinking is. But rewards-wise, I think Patrick Liney will be started the second line and Bodzik at the third line, and then you can matching after that. Here again.
So I think.
Go ahead.
We have some kind of the same thought. So I don't know if you remember what I said when I was talking about the power play units, right? So my conversation with him, if I'm Martin Saint Louis, is like, listen, Patrick, you're going to keep your power play 1, but I'm gonna have you playing with I would have him with Evans and Newhook or whatever the third line. You're gonna be playing third line minutes, 5-on-5. We're gonna scale you down a little bit because we need to balance our lines, right? Because honestly, like Doc, Demidov, and Line to me really scares me. Like I think they're going to get caved in 5-on-5, coach. I think it's not going to be good. And Montreal needs so coach, like we talked about how important it is to have a strong start. So I think St. Louis is going to go for balance. So, but I understand what you mean about I won't call it a negotiation with Line, but kind of like an arrangement that he has with Patrick Line. Like, Patrick, you're going to keep your first unit power play. I'm gonna, kind of like change your role 5-on-5 a little bit because I need you. I need your presence on another line to create a little bit more balance to the lineup. But that means you're also going to get some favorable matchups. Like you're going to maybe get some more offensive zone draws if you're playing. So I wouldn't be mad if it's Veleno. The only reason I had Veleno with Anderson and Gallagher is because he's left-handed, right? So if you look at the Evans line, all your guys are right-handed. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
why I
I
had
agree with
Veleno.
that one there, but still believe the for me, a face-off is a face-off. But I think at the end of the day, I just like better my four line Anderson, Evan, Gallagher. And honestly, guys, I'm going to surprise you today. I don't see maybe they would play better Veleno, Line, and York on the TY.
Oh yeah, like I for sure. Like they're gonna get all the if you went with this lineup, the Veleno line and the Dock line, they're both gonna get only offensive zone draws or neutral zone draws. They're like where it scares me is if there's an icing or something like that. That's where you get in trouble with those two lines. But there's no question if a D zone draw, it's either going to be Evans or it's going to be the Suzuki line. And
Now,
coach, this
Ken,
is the
go ahead. Sorry.
so that it's the big thing that scared me with them not having another good faceoff guy other than Suzuki and Evans is is this going to force Suzuki to have more defensive zone draws? Is it going to force Suzuki to play on the PK? Because we were just talking about Nick Suzuki's breakout season. Well, what was different about last season? He had way more offensive zone starts. His time on ice was slightly less than the year before, and he didn't have as much PK time. So if you're going to ask Suzuki to start taking more of those D zone draws, it's going to affect his productivity for sure. So I just want to mention that. Like,
Here we
so
go,
yeah.
Marco. I want to share something here. It's just conversation. Like we said, PW, I think you said, we just discuss this. We're not like, that's what we want. But here's what I'm looking for, what I would do with Marco. Maybe you're going to surprise you here, but I will do this. What's
Ugh,
the feeling about
no.
that?
Again, it's that second line coach. It's they're going to get caved in. I don't see like I think the coaching staff wants to like the two priorities on this line is Demidov. They want to make sure that he has a good experience in his rookie season, and they want Doc to succeed. They really, really want Doc to succeed. So I think you need to put in a player that's more responsible with those guys to give them a little bit of a security blanket. So to me, the only two options I would look at would either be Newhook or Budzik to play with Doc and Demidov.
A new hook is not
I'm keep
responsible. He's minus
well,
21.
yeah, but like I think that he's working on that part of his game. He can use his feet to pressure the puck. He's way, way more responsible than Line. Like I said, Line, his turnovers are egregious, right? So that's the biggest problem with Line. I think that he does a decent job at actually back checking. It's the turnovers at the offensive blue line. I know I'm repeating myself, but if you watch the games again, coach, you'll see what I mean. Like he was terrible at those turnovers, and it cost Montreal many, many times. So I will be very, very surprised. Again, there's game situations where they might do this, right? Like if you're trailing by a goal and you have an offensive face-off and you're down by a goal, sure, load up that line with Line A for an offensive. So it's not like Martin Saint Louis like should adjust in game, right? But it's kind of like what I was saying here. If Line is on that third line and it's the beginning of the third period, well, there's a couple shifts where you can switch him with Anderson and put out Veleno, Anderson in Newhook because you're protecting elite, right? Or if you feel like your game needs energy, then you start double shifting Anderson because he's skating around, hitting guys, and all that, right? So there's always in-game adjustments, but I'll be very surprised. Like I know most people see Laine, Doc, and Demidov together, and I get it. Like it's the
But
next
Marco, me
best
is
three.
Bolduc, Doc, Demidov. Like
Okay,
I did
yeah,
the video today, right? I work on different
yeah,
possibilities, everything like that. You look about the style of the Bolduc, what he play, and I think he's a better
yeah,
fit with Demidov and Doc. Bolduc is a
yeah,
hunter, in my opinion. Like hunter, like not
yeah,
like hunter, but he's hunting the puck.
yeah, yeah,
Doc,
yeah.
guys, if you watch my video, you see a lot of play. The first year, Marco, is
Oh
58
yeah,
game, 58 game, carry on the
his
puck.
takeaway,
Tension was good,
takeaway.
big body, 100 hit last year and 57 hit and 57 game, guys. The Doc with the number, if he play 82 game, will be the third forward. Have the most hit for the Montreal last year behind Anderson and Sakoski. So I think we know.
And if you go back even further, like so, we all agree Doc didn't have a good season last year, right? But if you go back to before his latest, like his first injury, what people really forget is how good at takeaways he is when he can skate. Like in order to put yourself in a position to separate someone from the puck by using your body, you have to physically skate to get there, right? And just Doc, his skating and his stamina just wasn't there last year. But if you go back and see what he was like when he was in shape, he was very good at takeaways, very good at keeping pucks alive down low and things like that. So if Doc can get back to that level, if he can score 50, 55 points, like I said earlier, play on both sides of the puck, and be good at takeaways to facilitate Demidov and Bolduc, beautiful. The only thing I would switch, coach, is I'm pretty sure Demidov is going to play on the right side because I think that's where they want him. I like Bolduc on the right too, but if I had to guess, I think he's going to probably be on the right side.
Yeah, you're right. About they have another question for you before, if you don't mind.
Sure. Breaking news?
We have a breaking news. Mantarin on the Madarin restaurant just let Danny out for a couple of minutes. And Danny back in the house from the Matarin. How you say that? Madarin in English?
Mandarin, yeah. Mandarin,
Yeah.
yeah.
So welcome, Danny, moderator here. Welcome. Hopefully you have an amazing, great summer, Danny, and your wife and your family. Glad to see you around about that. Line look good, coach. So, Joe, welcome in the house. Paletta also. A lot of great comments, guys, in there from Restaurant Dignon. Now, they have a debate in social media. Gary Cornoyer is a big fan of him. He predict Oliver Kapanen on the second line as a center with Demidov,
Yeah.
and then we have Grand Mekang or Mekan. Also, he predict Kapanen on that one.
Yeah, that was. I don't know, Coach, if you saw that on X, but interesting reaction from Renaud Lavoie. Did you see the Twitter exchange between Grant McCagg and Renaud Lavoie about that?
No, I did not see Renaud Lavoie. I
Yeah.
still try to build my X account.
Okay. Oh man, it was brutal. So Grant McCagg, I guess you shared the video of like him thinking that Kapanen is going to be the second line center, and Renaud Lavoie, all he responded with was like a little emoji with his eyes rolling, and you could see like the whole internet went after Renaud Lavoie and a big not that everybody agrees with McCagg, but they just felt that Renaud Lavoie was being kind of a little bit rude to Grant McCagg. But anyways, you should go. I'll send you the tweet. But yeah, I saw this is all over Twitter, and I did watch that episode of the Sick podcast where Grant was making his case for that. I'm not sure I agree with that as much. Again, like I really think that they really want a left-handed center to be on the team. So I think that's going to have a lot to do with it. Grant McCagg's reasoning from what I remember, he was putting a lot of emphasis on Kapanen's production in his last year in this what league was it again? The shit, I
Sweden
always
Hockey
forget the name
League,
of the league. Yeah, the Swedish Hockey League,
the
whichever
SHL.
I
The
forget.
reason behind that, Marco, is because I
Yeah,
just want to add more on what you just said. He have he produced about
yes,
0.96 or 0.98 point.
yeah,
That would be the fourth in the league, and that's rare for a young man to do that. So
yeah,
I just
for
want
sure.
to sharing
And I
with you
agree.
about that.
Yeah, yeah, and I totally understand. Like I get it. I personally though put a little bit more stock, not necessarily in what he did in Montreal, but what he did in Laval, right? So um he was okay in Laval, right? Like during their playoff run,
Have a good
but
run. He was the best player on the ice, I believe, Marco.
I don't agree with that. Not not
On the
not in my
playoff, yes, he was.
I don't think so. Like
Oh, he was better
I
him.
felt well, yeah, that's the thing. Like at certain points, I'd say most nights that I watched, anyways, I think Beck played better than him for
No,
sure.
Beck
I
finished
think,
on the winger. He's struggling, Marco, in the second half of the season.
but during the playoffs, like on the ice, in terms of what you could see, like the thing that I don't like about Kapanen is really just the motor that he has. Like I think he's very smart, like he's very aware on the ice and everything. It's just his intensity level that I just don't find is there. To be honest, his finishing was really really off. Like he missed so many chances as well too. I just don't see the like I see him as a really like I think has good upside to play in the bottom six for Montreal in the future. I just don't see him having the potential to I don't think he's creative enough to play with creative players. Now, again, like if he's just there to win faceoffs and be like a defensive presence on the line, maybe, but I just don't see him being as good of a fit as Kirby Doc has the potential to be, other
Yeah,
than the
on the second
faceoffs.
line, we are agreed together about that. If Kapanen
Yeah,
made the team, guy, he could be a winger, he could be a center. It will be at the bottom
yeah,
six at the end of the day. I
yeah.
don't see him to face the best opponent players.
Super Chat.
We have the first super shot of the night, Mr. Marco Elliott. Marc Elliott scored the first goal of the night. I'm going to get an assist to Danny T because he showed up tonight. And we have a new people pop up tonight. Camp is a new person in the chat tonight. Well, another one also was his first time. Apologize if I missed his name, but you know who he is. Marco, here we go. Crab. He did it again. Goal by Mr. Marc Elliott. First goal tonight, assisted by Danny T. And by the new, maybe subscriber, Mr. Camp. Welcome in the house. Mark entering the house with some beer. Here we go. A2.
There you go.
Management would give Doc every opportunity to succeed on the second line. They are not going to seek the farm to bring someone, maybe on the deadline. Great point about this. A lot of people in the chat they're sharing. And again, Danny books put some kind of conversation there. So I think it was pretty good, Marco, if you think about that.
We're pretty close. We're pretty close.
Yeah, and again, the conversation we have tonight, guys, I'm telling you right now, Martin St. Louis in September and October is going to have the same kind of conversation with his staff, his coaching staff, to find a way around that. Will be interesting how you're going to make the line. But again, guys, the only thing I would say to all of you, and I forgot the picture, Marco. I feel bad about that. But who remember at the bottom, Belzil, Hoffman, and I can go all the way like that, right? If you look about this lineup, guys, tonight, compare like 2 years ago, just check the opening night, and you're going to see, guys, that, wait a minute. Yeah, I think we are right now in the right direction. So I
You know
think
what's interesting though? You know what's interesting, Coach? Like you remember last year, and by the way, Coach, we should do that same exercise. Hopefully, it'd be great if Entertap could join us or somebody could join us. But remember last year we did a full breakdown of like how many goals and points per line they would need to be
it's
successful and all
coming.
that. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, we should do that again. But the one thing that we all agreed on last year is that Montreal's bottom six, it was arguably their strength, right? So the bottom six, they had really, really good depth. But now I feel like it's almost the same. Like they or it's almost the opposite. They lost Armia and they lost Dvorak, but they added Budzik and Demidov. So it's almost like their top six is stronger, but there's almost as many like I won't say question marks, but they're less experienced potentially at some points in their bottom six, right? So it'll be interesting to see kind of how that plays out for
They
sure.
are only right now, I believe, maybe one players to reach the top six. What they're thinking they're going to look like, and nothing
Yeah,
again. Nothing again could be Doc. It could be that player, by the way. But I think we
yeah,
have now and Budzik there, Patrick Liney. So if a winger get out of the injury, we still have a couple of players can pick it up there. So that's a good thing. And then we
yeah.
always say the
Very good.
focus of the bottom six is a good one now. But again, we're going to fill up one Gallagher, leave maybe Anderson or somewhere else. We have Florent Jacquard is coming very soon, Owen Beck, Kapanen. We have a lot of prospects could make it for the Montreal Canadiens. So, yes, we're looking more. Now, we know this. It could be running to the same pairing, but I would like to hear you pairing. I did the same thing, Marco, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, like if you've been watching me on the show is like since the summer, you're not going to be surprised. But if you're watching me for the first time, then you're going to be surprised a little bit. So, so for my first pair, I guess we'll call it, I'm going to go with Gooley on the left and Dobson on the right. I think that's probably what most people are thinking. I hope so, anyways. Like I hope that's what we'll see. I hope we don't see Hudson and Dobson together, and I hope we don't see Matheson and Dobson. I think this has a really good potential together here. So here's where I might start to surprise some people. Um, I'm going to say on the left here, I'm going to go Hudson. And then I'm going to say Reinbacher. And then I'm going to go Matheson. And I'm going to go Carrier.
Madison and who?
Matheson and Carrier on the bot. Like, and again,
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
think, I think, yeah, it's the bottom pair, but I don't think they're going to play like 12 minutes a game, right? But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm going to have Reinbacher there. I don't know if you had his name ready. I didn't. Maybe you weren't expecting me to have him make the team, but
Yeah,
I
it's like
think
it was not there, honestly. But this is the, I'll be honest with you guys, this is the ideal, this is the best scenario for the Montreal at the beginning of the year if Rebecca is ready,
yeah.
right?
If and
This
yeah,
is
it all comes down to the training camp. If like if you've watched me on this show, like this is how I think training camp is going to play out. Reinbacher is going to go into training camp and he's going to play a very very simple game. Most fans are probably going to say, "Hey, we didn't even notice Reinbacher. Like he's not doing anything or whatever. He's going to play very quiet but very good." And Martin Saint Louis, guess what? He's going to start to trust him. And and I think that he's going to grow his game that way. That's and I've said this many times. I repeat myself on this show, but coaches want players that are predictable. So if Reinbacher goes in, plays a simple camp, goes about his business, I think there's a very good chance that he'll make the team because he's a fifth overall pick. I think similar to Slav, I think they like their top picks to develop with the big club more so than spending more time than necessary in Laval. Most people are going to disagree with me. I know they think he hasn't played enough pro hockey, that he needs to play a whole year in Laval. If you look at how Montreal has managed these guys before, they don't mind having them up with the big team and learning the ropes that way. But it all depends. Like if he comes in and plays like Mayu did in camp and he's trying to do too much and he's out of position and he's overextending
I
himself,
think
then
Mayu was too reserved now last year, Marco. I think he was not one to take more chance. He was like worried about. I think would be now. Let's see this, me. If Rebecca is ready, Marco, like you said, I'll move here this
yeah.
way
I don't think you can have Hudson and Carrier together though, coach. Like it's just way too small of a pair. Way too
because the
small.
reason behind that, Rebecca, to give him 17 minutes per game is too much for him at the beginning of the season. I think it'd be better to hiding him at the beginning of the third pairing. And for
But
me,
it's but it's situational. Like I said, it's very similar to line A, right? So if you look at my lineup, I had line A on the third line. But like I said, if it's the end of the game, you can have Anderson play with Evans and Newhook for a couple shifts. Same thing here, right? Like you can hide him. You're starting him with Hudson and Reinbacher. That's what it says on paper. But if it's the end of the game, maybe you have Matheson that plays a couple shifts if you feel it's too much for Reinbacher, right? So I think again, it's all in-game adjustments, right? But having Hudson and Carrier as a pair, I don't see them doing that just because of the size issue. So yeah, I
Carrier
would
play like
stick
a
with
6'4" anyway. I'll be honest with you. Carrier play better at Raybacker physically.
yeah, but it doesn't change the box out situations, coach. Like,
Okay,
yes,
so
he's
let's
intense.
see.
He's
Let's go
intense,
with
but
that one. If Rebecca is not there anymore, right?
yeah, yeah.
What it will look like your
So then
pairing.
if he's not there, then you have Hudson on the right of the second pair with Matheson on the left. That's probably what's going to happen. And for me, I think they're going to probably again it's going to be another battle at camp, right? But I'm going to say they would start Jack Eye with Carrier.
And at the end of the day,
If
guys, I think. Oh, geez, I have Rebecca there too. No, it's trouble here too. So at the end of the day, guys, we're going to put this right here. If you don't mind, Marco, I think will be the good one
yeah,
to see that.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
the
yeah,
way
yeah.
I see that. If Rebecca, guys, not ready, that's exactly what I'm thinking about that. No doubt in my mind, it'll be that way.
Yeah. You saw that report, coach, where Hudson's dad has been working with him this summer to take passes on his backhand. So a lot of the Hudson's training has been focused on almost like he's anticipating to play on the right side. It's almost like the management team said, "We this summer we want you to train and be ready in case you need to play on the right side." So there's some reports. Did you see that one, coach? Like his dad mentioned in an interview that he's been working taking hard passes on his backhand because as a left-handed shot on your right side, you have to take passes on your backhand. So it
I,
could
I
be this
think
way.
I think we are all agree with that. The chat also agree with that. I think it'll be the if Rebecca. So this is a little bit what happening in the forward guys. We'll see what Patrick Liney is going to do, but this is
Yeah.
we'll see for the defenseman what David Rebecca is going to do, and I think that will go from there. I think this is the way I see that right now, and
Yep.
this is a good problem for the Montreal Canadiens. And then I would say that for all of you guys, and I think Sticky or someone in the chat really like Adam Ekstrom, guys. Don't be surprised. In the next couple of months, Ekstrom play better as trouble with Jekai. Like, this kid is getting better and better and better. I think with Florent Jekai, he was the most improvement players last season for Laval Rocket. Yes, we know what Owen Beck did. We know Jared Davidson did. But I think at the end of the day, this is looking
Well, let
good
me say
for
this,
the
coach.
Montreal Canadiens.
So I agree with you. Like Angstrom is definitely trending in the right way, right? But let me throw a fly in the ointment, okay, into what you're saying. If you were to put if you were to put Engstrom in this lineup with what they have there, I'm starting to get concerned with the mix of players that Montreal like with the different elements that Montreal has. They would have too many puck carrying type defensemen, less stay at home and like physical defensemen. Like I know Engstrom's a tall guy, but he's not very. He doesn't play very big. Like I'm not like he can block out, like he can box out guys and everything else. But wouldn't you be concerned having like a top 6D of Matheson, Hudson, Carrier, and Engstrom in there? That's a lot of guys that play the similar way. So I like Engstrom, but to me, this is just another reason why there's no problem moving Mike Matheson, right? Because
No, right now, Marco,
you
no
can't.
one is ready to pick number 4.
Well, Hudson again. If Hudson is playing on the left side, then
See, if
he's
you
playing
move
on the left
Matheson
side.
right here, you put Hudson there.
Yeah,
Who do you move here?
Reinbacher.
No, he's not there. He's
Okay,
not there. That's my point here. If you think Rebecca is not there, so what do you have there? Carrier?
I don't like that. No,
So this
I
is my
would.
point.
I would do Hudson if I had to do that. I would do. You would force to
You
be
have to
doing
put
Hudson
him
on the right
here, and then you have to put
and
Jekai
Struble.
here.
No, I put Struble because Struble and Hudson played really well together.
There. So then you have
Yeah,
Jekai here or Engstrom.
yeah. So to me, that's still not
For
terrible.
me,
It means
Marco, Engstrom is better to Strubble.
well, he's a different type of player, coach. It depends
Trouble.
what you need, right?
What is trouble? He cannot hit.
What do you mean he can't hit? He definitely is much stronger. Like he doesn't maybe get as many hits, but he can win one-on-one battles. He can box out guys way more
Engstrom
than
can do
Engstrom. Like
that.
he's way stronger.
And he can
He's not
carry the
as
puck better.
well, yeah, for sure.
Engstrom is
Nobody is.
6'2", Marco.
I know he's tall, but he's not strong, coach. He's not a
He's
strong
really
guy.
strong. He played on
True.
both sides, by the way.
I watched the same games you watch. Like I'm not saying he's like weak or anything, but to me, Struble is a much more physical player. Not just hits. I'm just talking being able to box out, being able to kind of like fight one-on-one with guys. I think Struble is a much more physically complete specimen than Engstrom is. But Engstrom for sure has way better vision, is way better offensive defenseman than Struble. It's not even close. But do you need another offensive defenseman when you already have Hudson and Dobson and Carrier? Like Carrier is a pretty offensive defenseman too. Like I know he plays intense and he plays better two-way, but he's also a good puck carrier. So
We said on it,
it's all a matter
honestly,
of
Engstrom is going to be better as trouble, Marco.
well, like what do you mean by better, coach? You can't really compare them. They're not the same kind of player.
But
It's like saying,
for me, I see Engstrom become a better hockey player, defenseman as trouble in NHL.
they're just very different. Like
Well,
again,
it could
remember
be
we were talking
different,
about
but the career of Adam Engstrom will be better to Strubble.
okay, but it doesn't mean that like coach, remember we were just talking about the chemistry in lines, right? You can't have all this players be exactly the same style of player. Like you need a mix, right? Like if you have all playmakers on the same line, they're not gonna complement each other very well. So again, I agree. Maybe Engstrom is probably gonna have a better career in the NHL than Struble, but I think Struble is a better complement to the defenseman that Montreal has already in the lineup. So again, if Matheson, like let's say Matheson was still there, I could see Engstrom replacing his style of play because he's a good puck mover and everything else. If you lose Gooley, though, who's replacing the type of because
We don't have
Gooley is really
anybody
the
like
only
Cooley. I apologize, but we don't have
exactly
anybody.
the closest thing is
But you want
Jacky
to trade
because he's
him last year, Marco.
well depended for what for a center, right?
I just pity
For
you
a
now.
center.
I'm just teasing you.
But we'll see about Gooley, like if he can stay healthy, right? Like that's still the biggest question mark. But
But when
like
you think about
now,
this, Marco, when you think about this, right? We're going to do the same thing with this year, guys. Think about this. Last year we have Savard. Now we have Dobson. That's really a
yeah,
plus right there, right? So
oh yeah,
like
for
a
sure.
forward, the defenseman guy is getting better and better and better. And whatever is happening, I agree with you, Marco. At some point, Madison, we have to move on with them. Maybe
Yeah.
next season. I don't know when. But if we get that, guys, but if we put this right here, and you put right here this name, and you can move here,
Yeah.
this is what the future of the Montreal Canadiens on the top four. This is what the Montreal are targeting right there. If this works the way it's supposed to be, that's solid. And then at the bottom, guys, you can put Jekai, Strobel, or Armstrong, and I think it will be good. For me, I would prefer Jekai because that resonates what you just said. It's a guy be physical, something happened on the ice, be there, and you have after that Carrier on the other side. So this would be the best third pairing defenseman for the Montreal Canadiens. Exactly what the next 2 years, I think Florent Jacquet as a forward on the top six that will helping the Montreal to be more physical. Because if you think about this, Marco, on the top six right there, Anderson, even 6 foot. Anderson 6'3". Palani is 6'5", Veleno 6'1", and New York is 5'11". But other than Anderson, Marco, we don't have anybody there on the bottom six can play physical.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like that's why I think Samuel Blais is going to get some ice, right?
Time there
might be
but
games.
it just give you an idea, Marco, the next 2 years, the presence maybe of the Tyler Thorpe, of Florent Jacquet, that will change a little bit the philosophy. That's what we need at the bottom here, Montreal, the next 2 years. But when you do this exercise, Marco, in the Montreal Canadiens fans night, you cannot be more excited about the future of Montreal Canadiens. And we do not touch, Marco, any prospect of the Montreal Canadiens. And I want to bring you here, if you don't mind. It was not supposed to be that way. I'm not sure you are on this picture right there. We're going to see. If you're not there, we're going to move you up. And I'm going to bring you here at the bottom here. It could be here. Here we go. See, guys, come on quickly. We can do this here live. But here's, guys, the Montreal Canadiens prospect. This is a Canadian Hockey League. All those players there, I'll be honest with you right now, I see Owen Prost and Aiden Popanikis, good player prospect, maybe Bickford, but it's not only there, guys. On the NCAA right there, where Michael Edge, guys, I think this is going to be the best. After that, it's just questionable. I don't know what's going to happening. But look about the rest, Marco. Although the fact Ben Merrill is big, we don't have a lot of physicality right there. But Michael is about skill and talent. Now we go to Sweden, guys. I apologize, guys, but nobody there is physical. Then we go to Russia. We don't have anybody there physical at all. Talented was Zarovsky, but that's it. And then we have to go Rocket, guys. This is where it's a little bit different. Now, and there you have, honestly, Jacquet. I don't see Luke Tuck in NHL. I apologize, guys. No. But Jacquet is only one. And then after that, Tyler Thorpe. But it's not like physical.
Well, he has the potential to be, for sure.
That's an area where the Montreal Canadiens, Marco, have to find a way to get, if they're looking for take the spot of Anderson, a Gallagher, or Liney, a New Hook. They have to get that kind of player right there. But that give you an idea, guys, what we look like, and that's what Montreal need to figure out this.
It shows how, like, there's a reason why you don't hear many people talking about trading Josh Anderson anymore, right? Like, he's absolutely needed in the mix in the ingredients, that Montreal has in their top 9 or even their top 12. So yeah, like I agree with you. Like I think they will look to kind of fill that. If you listen to kind of what Gordon and Hughes talked about, they're looking for compete, they're looking for size. Those are the key things. One topic, Coach, I don't know if you had something else for us, but there's one thing I thought that was interesting. Actually, you know what? Why don't we save this for another show? I have another idea. We'll cover this on the next one. Never mind. Go ahead if you have another topic.
I was thinking about Marco to give us, like Joseph said, Montreal have a better lineup at the Buffalo Sabres. Guys, I will say to you guys, we're going to do this very soon, where we put the lineup of Montreal Canadiens. And we did this last year, Marco, if you can recall it. I don't know exactly when, but I think it'll be good. A lot of comments in the chat. Frankie, Leonis show up. Guys, don't forget, please, to click on that. If you don't mind, it'd be great. Marco, I want to give you the question tonight. Was supposed to do this early. Joseph talked about them. But I want to show you guys a question, and we'll see who is going to be closer on that one. The question is, how many first-round pick have the Sabres had in the last 15 years? That's the question. Your answer, guys, cannot be over. It's like the Price is Right. Make sense? So the Price is Right said, if you're over, you're out. If you are out, you cannot win. If you are close to the answer, we'll give you. If you are right, we're going to give you the answer. So this is the question of the night. Luke Lapoisson, welcome in the house. Butch and Harry also. So here we go, Marco. How many first round pick they have since 2011?
That's a tough one. Since 2011, eh? All right, I'm gonna go. There's many years that where they didn't have more than one in the first round, but I'm assuming that there's at least a couple of years where they had more than one pick. So I'm gonna be conservative. I'm gonna say 19.
19.
Yeah.
A2 go with 27. Send them in. Welcome in the house. Randy, 14. That will give you a tip, guys. 15 years initial draft. He didn't ever make the playoff. Chance they're going to get at least 15 pick.
Yeah. Exactly. I don't think they were trading their first round picks. Yeah.
Joseph go almost 20, probably. Merci, mon Harry. Sen go with 7.
Wow.
That's really low. I can give you that.
Very low.
Conversation. Cash Fan, welcome back, by the way. 16. We wait a little bit. Peter, 19.
Copycat.
Copycat for Marco. And we have a right one here. PS with 21 is the answer. That one, Marco, you was really close at 19, to be honest with you. Mark 23, Billy 23. Both of you over. But 21, Marco, is pretty good on that one to get that with 19.
How many is Montreal?
Honestly, 15 time. I'm sorry?
How many do you think Montreal has had in that period of time? Not that far from this number.
Montreal, listen, they have nothing this year. Last year they have 2. The year before that, 1, I believe. They trade their pick, 31. Yeah. And then the year before that, they have 2, Mezar and Rebecca. So I will give you 2, 5 in the last 4 years for the Montreal Canadiens.
I don't think they've traded a lot of their first round picks. So I would guess maybe in the last 15 years, Montreal's had at least 17, 18.
I would go lower, 15.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I will have to give that one over there. But and then I checked Joseph, the Buffalo, the performance of the draft is questionable. And then they trade many of them, by the way. And then they give a lot of bad contract. Jeff Skinner, Kyle Upsoko. Is this
Upkoso? Yeah. Upkoso.
Doesn't matter if you trade the pick, you still add it A2 about that. For the pick for the Montreal Canadiens. They have 2, but honestly, they trade them. So you're right about this at some point. But officially, pick by pick, it will not go that way. Marco, 9:21, I think we're going to shut down here. I think at least you want to do a clash. I don't know if you want to do a clash or not.
Well, so pitch, what I'll do, coach, is I'll pitch you just so we can tease it live on the air here. I think for next week, like when we go on next week, there's like maybe a good topic would be because ultimately, like, we've been talking about the lineup, right? And we all agree, like, they had a really good summer. But guess who won last summer? Nashville won last summer, right? So sometimes it's not about winning the summer. It's all about kind of how things fall into place. So I don't know if you're noticing the same thing as me, coach, but I watch like all kinds of different stuff, or like Daily Face Off and all these different kind of like sources. And you're starting to see the hockey world starting to buy in to what Montreal is doing. We're starting to get some believers. I even saw some experts predict that Montreal was going to finish ahead of Toronto in the Atlantic Division, right? So I think what we should, like, maybe for a topic next time, coach, is yes, Montreal is better, but they're all younger as well too. They're going to be younger and they're more inexperienced in some ways, right? So I see this conversation is just starting in Habs world. Is like other places are starting to kind of see what's happening here, right? So is Montreal really going to take a huge step next year? I think we're all excited, but what is the legitimate chance that Montreal is going to say finish top 3 in the Atlantic next year? It's interesting. Like some people are starting to really buy into it, but there's still a lot of question marks. So I think tune in next week, guys, for when I come on. Like I think maybe that's a topic we can do.
One more thing,
Coach and I
Marco, I
will.
want to mention that to you. It's like I have one, he was on my, I don't know where I put this, but anyway, the top, maybe they are the top, maybe not, maybe the second top prospect in NHL is San Jose Sharks.
Yeah, for
Agree
sure.
with me?
Yeah, like
Do you
it's
believe, guys?
for sure
Imagine that. I'm thinking you're going to be really, but San Jose could finish again last in the NHL this year.
crazy. That's insane.
If they
You can
are,
see Pittsburgh is trying.
Kevin
Pittsburgh is trying.
McKenna is going to be with them.
That's insane.
So imagine that if they get Kevin McKenna with what they got for the last 2 years with Celebrini, Will Smith, and the rest, this
Nisa.
team's going to be just dangerous and maybe better Montreal Canadiens with those picks. I know
Oh
I
yeah.
said the development, you never know. It was Ken Marco is going to said, okay, they maybe finish second at the bottom, not it will be Chicago again. But imagine San Jose going to draft the best defenseman, right defenseman, Victor Craft or whatever his last name, 6'5". It's better, almost better as Sheffer. So imagine them, they have a right defenseman with the team. So San Jose guys are going to be just pill another big pick because otherwise, guys, is what after that? San Jose, Chicago. We have to go what? Nashville, Pittsburgh.
Anaheim is going to take a step this year. They're not going to
And
finish.
then take a step right there. They're going to
Yeah.
get maybe the Flowers at the bottom, but something have to go down. Is it Boston?
Well, that's the big question, right? Like, so the one thing I hear the most right now is, so again, there's people that really believe that Montreal is going to take a step and be right where they were last year, but there's some people that believe the only reason that Montreal made the playoffs is because the Rangers shit the bed and were terrible, right? And so people are assuming that next year, okay, teams like the Rangers, they're going to have the same kind of season they had before. They're going to rebound. But, and we talked about this before, coach, but what happened last year? Is it just that some teams really underperformed? Like, and for sure the Rangers did, right? Like there's no question about that. But the parity in the Eastern Conference is insane, right? Like like just because the Rangers, there's less 100-point teams in the Eastern Conference last year, it's not just because some teams underperformed or some teams overperformed. It's just the teams are so close. The margin between losing and winning every night is like this. It's like nothing. The teams are so close. There's so much parity. So I don't think it's going to be like that. I don't think there's going to be a team that just automatically rebounds. Like I think that's why, like, you're going to see teams that are just going to still be all stacked on top of each other. But like we talked about, like at some point in like late October, if November, if you see teams that thought they were going to be in the mix and then all of a sudden they have a really terrible start, then if they have pieces to move them, they're going to move them, and and maybe that's where Montreal is going to have that opportunity to get another top 6 forward, right? But lots again, like there's so much parity in the NHL, coach, right now that it's it's going to be so hard to predict how things go. The one thing I know that you covered it on a couple of episodes ago, but the schedule is going to be a huge challenge for Montreal this year with 17 back-to-backs. That's going to be a major challenge. But listen, like we talked about, we promise it's July, but there's still lots of stuff to talk about.
And
Lots of
one more
stuff.
thing I
So
would say to Marco, yes, parity is there, but at the end of the day, it's not because repeatedly the same team are going to be at the Final Four every year. Think about this.
well,
The last I'm doing right now an exercise. Listen, Edmonton, Florida, the last 2 years with Dallas. Then you have a switch with the Rangers and the Carolina Hurricane. The Carolina Hurricane was there the year before that. Then for the gap, every 3 years, Panthers has always been there. And every 3 years, it's almost the same. Then 3 years before that, Tampa Bay, Vegas together.
But what I mean by parity, coach, is if you look at the not last season, but the season before that, the gap, like there was teams that were out of the playoff race, like in November,
Oh yeah,
right?
this is definitely you can see the 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 wild card was almost done between 8 to 9. At both
Yeah.
sides
So
now,
that's
it's
what I
not the
mean.
same. Now you're going to have this year, Marco, Anaheim and Utah pushing other team. I think Montreal
Yeah.
will be one of them. Get pushing maybe by Columbus. If Columbus is a team, and we nobody talk about this, and the Rangers
No, for
have the lineup, but they can't do it. I think for me in the Atlantic Division, I think Tampa Bay is the same team. I think Boston is going to go down. I don't see anything with Detroit Red Wings. I don't see anything with the Buffalo Sabres. At the end of the day, Ottawa, Montreal, Tampa Bay is going to fight for the spot number 3 and 4 in the Atlantic Division, 3, 4, and 5. And the Metro
how do you like
Division,
Toronto's offseason?
Marco, Carolina.
How do you like the how do you like the Leafs offseason so far?
I'm sorry.
How do you like the Leafs? Like,
I
you know,
think it's
I haven't.
underrated for the people because I think they add depth inside this, more physical, more the play they want to play. I think this team is a little bit more. Someone said it today on the social media, they are not better. I'm sorry, they are better. Whatever they lose, manner, they are more a chemist, more a complete team. I believe. The Joshua
Yeah,
at the bottom. Nobody talk about Roy.
yeah,
What
Nicolas
is
Roy,
a
and
solid bottom six over there? They need to
for
find
sure.
maybe someone who would take the spot on Marner. I understand on the offensive side, but as a team together, they're going to win most game 3-2, 2-1,
Yeah.
4-3 per
The only
one
thing I
goal.
don't the only thing I with Toronto is I remember I was saying that maybe Montreal we have too many puck movers and less physical defensemen. For them, it's the opposite. They don't really have enough good puck movers. Like they have really a pretty rugged defense now, right? With like Tanev and like
You're
McCabe and
right.
all those guys. They need a little bit. So if they could switch out, like I like Benoit and I like the guys they have, but they just need a puck moving guy
A
because
guy like Ramis
O'Reilly just
Anderson could be the right place for him.
yeah. Oh
Right there,
yeah,
a
for
right
sure.
defenseman. Okay, if you add Mike Matheson on the left side, you still have Morgan Riley, right? It's not,
Yeah.
but if you have Ramis Anderson, I think it will be a really good fit for them. I agree with you about that. A lot, like
Yeah.
I said, guys, we can be here. The chat is on fire right now. I feel bad to leave all of you guys in the chat, but Marco, was a pleasure to have you again. Fun to have you around you. I can wish you next week and let me know it's a Wednesday is the best time for you. And if you don't mind, if you want to talk with Frank, tell him my new account because I cannot reach him at all.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll send him a message. Maybe
Yep.
I'll see if he can join us next week for sure. Sounds good.
All right. Thanks so much, Marco. It was Marco
Thanks, boss.
Larrabee from Hawkesbury with us tonight. I can wish you next week. Have a good one.
Thanks.
It was Marco, guys. What a great to be lucky to have Marco. One he can pop up almost every week. He's really helping the channel all the time during the off season. Talking about co-hosts, we ask you guys to pray, of course, for Enartap, his family. We want to add also the people in the chat. We thank all of you guys. I know it's a little bit, it's July. I'm really pleased. We got over 60 people tonight. Glad to see the old people, not the old age, but the people been with us in the channel and for many years come back tonight. It's a pleasure to have all of you with us tonight also. And see Danny tonight. It was great, buddy. Hopefully you're doing well, Danny T, and the rest of you. And we want to thank Mark Elliott on the super chat tonight. One goal, but a big goal, of course. We want to thank RJ Calabro News Update, Danny and Ron at the moderator, and all of you click on the likes. But the most important thing is all of you have a conversation with respect in the chat. And that's the reason we said the Hockey Nation show is different. It's not big, it's not a huge, big channel, but it's maybe one of the best channel about respect. We honestly, moderator don't have nothing to do because you guys really good between all of you. And I can say that, you know what? You never could to catch me, Joseph. But you're getting on the same direction I've been there for a couple of years ago. So, yes, Honestly, I would like to tell you more positive about your age, Joseph, but sleep properly and the right way, you're getting older, but you're getting more wisdom inside of you because of your experience. And the only reason, Joseph, we know who you are awesome. You are amazing. You are the best. And remember, you have greatness inside of you. That's it. That's all. That's what we got tonight on this great evening of the July 23rd, 2025, at Wednesday night. You guys, you're amazing. You're nuts to come here. We're going to be back Friday night. And Friday night, we talk about baseball. We're going to review about baseball. Who are your favorite players? Who do you remember the moment of baseball? Which player make an impact for you? The Montreal Expos, example. We're going to review them. Last year we did a full program. We're going to talk about the MLB, and if you have something happening with the Montreal or the NHL, we're going to talk about this at the beginning. But really, Friday is about fun Friday night. The hamburger is out, the chicken wing is out, and we have the Billy Bar, a new bar we create here at the Hockey Nation Show. Billy is in charge about this. We have Luciano, but Luciano is on vacation right now, so we're going to have to find a new chef. Maybe Danny. The problem to put Danny behind the barbecue, guys, you cannot eat. He's going to grab everything on the barbecue, one hamburger at a time. So we're not going to put Danny there. We have to put Danny out of the barbecue area because we're not going to get a lot of food for all of us. Vladimir Guerrero, yes, thank you much, Shelton. Thanks, everybody. Glad to see all of you. Don't forget to watching my video every single day. And if you just said Kirby Duck today, I think it's a good one. Be well, be health. Find a way not only to dominate your day, but find a way to dominate the second half of what? If Nicolas was here, we said 2025, but Luc Lafortune is going to get the backup of that one. Have an amazing, great night, everybody. I can't wait to see you at Friday night. Until then, enjoy the rest of your week and your summer. And that's it. It's coming. Booyah. Good night, everybody.